You're watching Gloria Rodriguez, Anthony Alvarez, and Mike Cholinas with your lifestyle weather forecast. This is KMIR 6 News, Special Edition.
Welcome back. Several new laws hit the books today. Attorney Steve Quintanilla is here with us this morning to tell us about some of the more important new laws. Steve, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Well, good morning to you.
And first of all, I want to say congratulations. It's a new year, and I understand you have now been chosen to represent Desert Hot Springs as well as Rancho Mirage.
Yes, and I'm very excited at the challenge, and it's actually my second term there as their city attorney, so I'm looking forward to coming back to the community and doing what I can to help them out.
Wonderful. And one of the things that you're going to help us out with today is understanding some of the new laws, because I know for myself I have a hard enough time keeping track of the old laws. Now we have new laws to worry about. So what are those new laws that we really need to know about this year?
Well, I got to tell you, during 2012, while most of us Californians were preparing for the Mayan apocalypse, our state legislators were hunkered down at the state capitol coming up with a variety of proposed laws. And in fact, this year they came up with over 1,000 new proposed laws, 873 of them which were actually put into law, which take effect today. Those are the laws that were signed by the governor of California. But there were proposed laws affecting every aspect of California life. We have laws pertaining to motorcycle sounds, public pensions, public health, the elderly, employment, you name it, every aspect of California life. But I think the most significant laws that were adopted this year for California really pertain to the issues that are really the core of a national debate. Those include laws pertaining to college costs, internet privacy, foreclosures, immigration, and gun control.
Okay, so when it comes to college costs, what is the new law?
Well, there's two laws that took effect today. One of them has to do with college textbooks. There's like 50 or more common college textbooks that are provided to students at the Cal State universities and community colleges. The colleges are now required to post those common textbooks online free of charge for the students. So that's going to result in a significant reduction in cost at least for college textbooks. Also, in regards to tuition hikes, there's been a lot of controversial tuition hikes imposed by the boards of regents for both the UC system and the Cal State University system. So now the law requires that these boards consult with student groups to determine whether or not there is an actual need for further tuition rate hikes.
Okay. And of course, gun control is really out there in the news right now because of what happened, unfortunately, in Connecticut. So can you tell us more about the gun control issue and the new laws that are going to take into effect?
Certainly. Last year, in 2012, there was a law that took effect that prohibited carrying unloaded handguns into public places. A lot of people didn't know that that was actually legal before 2012. Well, what happened during this year, certainly we had these terrible tragedies in Colorado and Oregon and in Connecticut. And at the same time, what was happening is that a lot of the gun rights advocates were protesting the law regarding unloaded handguns. And they started carrying rifles and shotguns, unloaded rifles and shotguns into some of the Starbucks throughout California. And so in response to that and the tragedies that happened in Oregon and Colorado, the state legislators, some state legislators proposed a bill that would ban carrying unloaded rifles and shotguns into public places. And so that law takes effect today.
Wow. Now also immigration, always a big issue. What's new in 2013?
Well, with immigration, there's been a national debate on the issue of whether or not we should provide a national ID. And that debate has not fallen on deaf ears in Sacramento. So what the new law that takes effect today is a law that allows certain undocumented Californians to receive California driver's licenses. And the condition upon which they can receive one is that they have to qualify for a federal work program permit. And the federal work program permit requires that it allows permits to be issued to undocumented residents if they are 30 years or younger, they arrived in the United States prior to 16 years of age, they have either gone to school, graduated from school, or they're attending school, or they served in the military. If they meet all that criteria and they've been living consistently in the United States for 5 years, they're entitled to get a California driver's license.
Okay. Now lastly, I just kind of want to wrap up because there's some interesting and I should say funny laws that are also taking effect. Tell us about those quickly.
Oh yeah, what I do every year is I review all of these laws. Sometimes they number in the thousands, and I review them to determine whether any of them are going to have an impact on any of my clients. And so, just as a form of comic relief, just because of the onerous review that I go through, I often look to see what laws there are out there that might make some people chuckle. The first one I can think of is that, and these are very serious laws, but I think that they're funny nonetheless. This year, an employer cannot hide an employee in a back room simply because of his or her religious clothing. And I had a client ask me, who happens to be an employer. He said, Steve, what about a nude sun worshiper wearing just a headband who wants to work as a greeter at my store?
Oh, well.
And I told him, fortunately, there's an out for that.
Things to keep in mind.
Yeah, there's an undue hardship. So if that's going to impact your financial, your profits, then there's an exception to it.
The other one that I liked, the meter. If the parking meter has been expired, you don't have to pay for it, which I've been doing anyway, but now you won't get in trouble for it.
Well, I don't know. I've been in situations where I've run into a broken parking meter and you can't put money in it because something is stuck in it. Well, the state legislature decided, well, why don't we adopt a law that doesn't require you to pay a broken parking meter? Well, I thought, how would you pay it in the first place? But now, essentially, you won't get a ticket if you park in a space with a broken parking meter.
Okay, now I'm in the clear. Thank you so much, Steve, for cluing us in on some of the new laws for 2013. So make sure you get educated. You don't want to get arrested or get a ticket for violating